Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You're here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish McFarlane. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. Been a good day. Can I shout out the recording we did this morning that I'll post soon?
That was the best start to my day in a long, long time.
Super fun HR Happy Hour we recorded today. I can't wait till it runs.
Oh my gosh. We were talking with the head of innovation for HCM for Bayer, which I don't want to give too much away, but Melissa was an amazing.
Melissa Harper. Yeah, she was great. Harper.
Oh my goodness. And she's here in St. Louis, so I can't wait to meet her in person. But shout out to not only Melissa, but whoever hired Melissa.
Yeah, she was super impressive.
Give them a raise.
And it's a good kind of lineup against the show we did a few weeks ago with Regine from DHL, another huge company, another German headquartered company, oddly enough, right? Bayer, I looked it up for the show. Bayer, 100,000 plus employees worldwide, number 210 or so on the Fortune Global 500, which essentially saying it's one of the 200 largest companies by revenue in the world, which that's super impressive. So to get a chance to talk to someone leading HR innovation for an organization of that scope and size and reach was super fun. I was really jazzed by that show today.
It's a dream job, I think. If you're in human resources and you actually have a company that's willing to carve out not just one position, but she has a team of people globally that work, with her, for her, collaborate with her. And in 100 countries, Bayer is in 100 countries, which I thought also was just fascinated by. So definitely check out the show. And, as sort of a pre-work for the show, look around your house and see what you already use made by Bayer. Some of it's quite surprising.
Yeah. Well, of course, the aspirin we know forever, right? Since we were 3 years old, right?
Right. But everything from vitamins to lots of pharmaceuticals. Again, those things you see on TV, but you may not even take personally, but you're just familiar with the names. And the most surprising to me was Roundup.
Yeah, I'm a Roundup guy.
Pesticide, yes. I mean, and I don't use a ton of it because I don't like, but I do use it. So I have it.
Yeah, it does manage to pretty effectively kill everything in its path. So which can have pluses or minuses. Yeah. But no, great show. So look for that. That was probably the highlight of the day. And this is a good end of the day too, because we did that show early this morning, relatively speaking. And so now we get to hang out a little bit at the end of the day, which is fun as well.
We did. Well, I have a question for you to end the day. And there are many times, and I think this applies to whether you're in human resources or just business in general, or we're talking technology, right? My question's going to apply. So do you ever change things because it makes sense, like it's the right thing to do, like it makes sense to change something, but then it doesn't work for the users? It just doesn't work for whatever reason, like all the right reasons you make the change.
Yes, I'm certain that happens, and it happens a lot, and I'm certain I've probably been involved in it. I mean, from the most direct example I can think of from our space, stuff that maybe I've done or been around, and maybe you too, is when, let's say you've got an application you're using for some elements of your enterprise services and functions. And maybe you've got a different application for something else. And then someone, usually an IT person, decides, hey, you know what, let's consolidate on one big platform, right? And that's often really a good strategy, and it can be a really compelling strategy longer term. But in the short term, that could kind of make things worse for people who are really in love with that old system that might have been, say, a better system for its purpose than a system, say, from a suite provider, which may not have all the capability that you need. So that's the example that came right to mind when you asked that question, Trish. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, but maybe
it's exactly what I was thinking, and I'm glad that you put it into a work perspective. But I want to also kind of tie like a non-work example to it, because for me anyway, that always works best when I have sort of a non-work example to sort of remember something. And so I think it was about 3 days ago, I'm in this organization phase here at Casa McFarlane, and I have been organizing my kitchen. I mean, like, to the point of I'm super excited. Amazon just delivered organizers for the inside of my refrigerator.
Nice.
I don't know that I need them, but we're going to be organized. So I thought back to my old home ec days, and I don't even know if they still teach this in home. Is there home ec even?
If it is, I don't know. It might be called something else.
Anyway, but I remember in junior high home
Yeah.
ec, the teacher taught me that whatever you do, like when you put away your dishes, your silverware, whatever, it needs to be in the order that you would need it, like to use it. So when you put it away, like, so when you choose your cabinets, your drawers, in other words, you don't want plates way over across the room, glassware, here, silverware there, whatever. Well, my silverware is not in the right place. That's the bottom line. Silverware is not in the right place. It's right next to the sink. Don't know. I've lived here 3 years. So I decide I have these organizers for my silverware and for other spoons and things like that, things to stir, spatulas, whatnot. Long story short, moved everything.
Okay.
Wiped out everything, cleaned everything, laid new paper down, all the things you're supposed to do. Put all the organization little tools in the right cubbies, put all the silverware where it's supposed to go. Then I trained the children. I had a training session. I called, right? Like you would, like just with software. I called the children to the kitchen. I'm like, hey, everyone, guess what? Here I have the refrigerator organized now, salad dressings all together, jellies all together, whatever. And look where our silverware is. It's right here next to the stove, which is so handy because we're going to dish up our plates. We're going to pick up our silverware.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. I
can't do it. I can't even tell you how many times a day I go to get a spoon or something.
I knew where this was going. It was obvious, like a little bit where you were leading to, like you've opened the wrong drawer now 37 times since you've made this adjustment.
That would be a conservative estimate, yes. And not only me, the kids, we're all like, talk about screwing up your whole mojo in your house. Like, move the silverware.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Tip if you don't like your significant other in your house, like move the silverware and don't say a word. Just like move it. So here's my next question. And I think this also gets into technology too, is do you move it back? Or do you live with the thing because it's the right way to do it? I moved it back.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a low impact item like the silverware drawer, maybe I would move it back. If it's something more important, like in the workplace kind of example we talked about, if you're really convinced longer term that a little bit of short term pain is worth it for a little bit of long term benefit, I think you ride it out a little while. Yeah,
I think you ride it out. But I would say, I think too, don't feel like just because you've decided, and I don't mean on a certain vendor, but on a certain solution that vendor offers, don't just live with it though. If it's not, again, don't wait 3 days like I did, right? Wait a little longer to your point.
But 3 days is a quick trigger, like on an enterprise-wide system to pull the trigger on it.
But my point is, if your employees are finding it difficult, I remember, I will not name names. I was working for a company. It was literally impossible to do the expense reporting. It just was. It was painful every month. And I traveled, and that was one of the major reasons I quit. I'm going to be honest. It had nothing to do with compensation. I liked my boss, all the things. But if you make work so difficult for your employees, the things that they have to do all the time, you will actually lose.
So funny you bring that example up, because I spent a good chunk of this afternoon working on a webinar that I'm doing in a couple of weeks with our friends at Paycom. And it's largely about touch points and employee experiences and the connective tissue between HR and other workplace technologies and driving home those really compelling experience. And that's a great example. Maybe I'll steal that example from you for the deck.
Feel free to. Yeah. I've also been thinking a lot about it too, because I've seen a lot coming out from SAP SuccessFactors around this employee experience and really all the things they're doing. And that's what sort of made me think of it too. It was like, yes, I know my example is silverware drawer, but don't get stuck. Don't get stuck with a bad employee experience, because you will lose people over it ultimately if they're that.
It's such a dissatisfier, and it's really I think it's more important than even you mentioned. The silverware example is a really, really good one. Yeah, I've got to think about that. Hey, I had one thing I wanted to mention real quick.
Okay.
I wrote it down, and otherwise I'm going to throw it away. Big shakeup in the world of finance, Trish. I don't know how the stock market deal, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the other things, lots of things. I don't follow it all that closely, but I thought this was worth mentioning because it's kind of important. Shake up in the Dow Jones Industrial portfolio of stocks. So there's 30 companies that make up that index.
Right.
From time to time they change. 3 companies out, Trish. and one of them you never expect, ExxonMobil out, been a Dow Jones stock for 92 years. Raytheon, big defense contractor, out. Pfizer, pharma company, out. Coming in, Trish, interestingly, Salesforce.com, going to be a Dow component. Amgen, kind of a biotech company, sort of a similar one to Pfizer, and Honeywell, which is also kind of similar to Raytheon. I took the big news, though. ExxonMobil, after 92 years, out of the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
That's amazing. I have not heard that. You know,
I don't really know what it means, but yeah.
Do you remember our friend Dr. Daniel Crosby?
Right.
So, organizational psychologist, and was in the HR space for a number of years, and he actually moved over to fintech to think about those sorts of behaviors and habits that people have in the financial markets.
Yeah.
It might be interesting actually to do an HR happy hour with him on, because I know he frequently goes on CNBC and some of the different news resources talking about what happens, with those kinds of decisions. So that might be a good thing to tap into. Interesting.
And one more real quick. Tony Hsieh, legendary CEO of Zappos, announced his retirement today, Trish. Really? I know we talked about Zappos now and again on the Happy Hour show. Announced his retirement.
How old is he? Is he like 40?
I don't know. I don't know if the article said. I just caught the headline news. Youngish looking guy though, but yeah.
I saw him speak once years ago, and so interesting. So interesting.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they were the darling of the HR world for that nice run. And then the Moneyball guy came in and took a lot of their thunder, as I recall. I think that was
That's probably true.
The
Even though that
chronology of
story got used a lot, I will tell you though, he was just so impressive, and I can see why they did as well as they did, because he was a very inspirational leader. So
yeah, but I'm noteworthy, so maybe we can talk about it at length some other show. One last thing for me, I know we got to go.
You just said one last thing.
I wanted to shout out our friend Lance Hahn. His Portland Trailblazers playing the Lakers tonight. Dame Lillard out with an injury. Going to be rough going for the Trailblazers, but they've had a great run. So this is it for them.
Okay.
Go out on a high note.
Yeah. Go big and then go home.
Go home. Yeah.
On that happy note, we're going to go home. Thanks everyone for listening, for all the messages as usual, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.